Could you please leave this house, Amy? Huh? I was suddenly asked such a thing by my mother-in-law. Come on, Mom, don't say that. I said so and laughed, but my mother-in-law's eyes weren't smiling. Wait, are you seriously telling me to leave? As I was puzzled and I didn't understand, my mother-in-law showed me a photo she took out of the drawer. Huh? As soon as I saw the photo, I made up my mind. I'll leave right away. My name is Amy. I'm a 35-year-old office worker. I've been married to Tyler for 3 years. We were originally colleagues and joined the company at the same time. We worked hard together, supporting and competing with each other every day. At some point, we naturally became closer and we started going out for drinks together as a couple. We're in the same work cohort, so our ages are the same and we have many common topics to talk about. Our values are also similar, so being together feels very comfortable. After that, we started meeting privately and our relationship began. And then after smoothly continuing our relationship for 2 years, he proposed to me, and we decided to get married. After that, we went to his parents' house to give our marriage greetings, and I was able to quickly get along with his parents.
Amy, you have a wonderful smile and you're a great girl.
Thank you very much.
Tyler is lucky to have you. Wait, Dad, what do you mean by that?
His parents were very friendly and easy to talk to, and they were good people. So I was confident that this marriage would definitely be a happy one. After completing the formal meeting between both families, we successfully married. After getting married, my husband found a job opening for a mid-career position that he had been interested in for a while. He went for the interview and decided to switch jobs. It was a little sad that we couldn't work in the same company anymore, but I wanted to support my husband's wishes. When he got the job, we celebrated together. My husband was able to do the work he wanted and was lively and energetic every day. To help my husband adapt to his new job as quickly as possible, I started taking the initiative to do household chores and try to come home on time as much as possible.
I'm home.
Oh, welcome back. Dinner is ready.
I'm starving. What are we having today?
Today, we're having hamburgers.
Yes, I'll change quickly.
For the sake of my hard-working husband, I didn't mind taking on the majority of the household chores. In this way, we were enjoying our newlywed life very much. As my husband became more accustomed to his work, I gradually started increasing my overtime hours just like before. I found efficient ways to handle household tasks, and I successfully utilized meal prepping and other methods to save time. Because of this, even with overtime, I had no problem preparing dinner, and I didn't feel physically exhausted. On our days off, we went on trips and enjoyed various fun activities. We also visited my in-laws' house frequently. My in-laws treated me very well, and I felt like they were my real parents. Especially with my mother-in-law, we had a great relationship, and we even went shopping together as a duo.
Tyler is our only son, so of course he's adorable, but I also wanted a daughter. That's why I'm truly happy that someone like you, Amy, have become my daughter-in-law.
I also think of you as a real parent. Since my own family lives far away in a rural area, I rely on you a lot. Oh, that's so wonderful. Being able to shop for clothes together and have tea at cafes like this is pure happiness. My mother-in-law was always lovely with a constant smile on her face. She had a great sense of humor and always made me laugh. I really liked my mother-in-law. I was thrilled that I could build a good relationship with my in-laws. Kind-hearted and gentle in every way, my in-laws were a source of my happiness. I was living a life full of happiness in my marriage. However, life is unpredictable. One day, when my husband and I were relaxing at home on our day off, his phone rang.
Huh? It's a call from Mom. I wonder what's going on.
Saying so, my husband answered the call.
What? Dad has been taken to the hospital?
We were immediately informed of this by my mother-in-law and we rushed to the hospital. But my father-in-law had already passed away, unable to receive treatment in time. It turned out that my father-in-law had been on his way to a friend's house when he got involved in an accident. We mourned my father-in-law's death deeply. Tears didn't stop flowing even during the funeral, and the one who suffered the most was my mother-in-law. She suddenly became alone, losing her beloved husband. Both my husband and I were deeply concerned about my mother-in-law. I wondered if she was feeling lonely or depressed by herself. I couldn't help but worry like that. And one day my husband made a suggestion to me.
If you're okay with it, Amy, would you like to live together with my mom?
I immediately agreed to my husband's suggestion. I've been waiting for you to say that.
Thank you so much, Amy.
My husband quickly proposed the idea of living together to my mother-in-law. Although she felt sorry for causing trouble, when we assured her that she didn't need to hold back, she happily agreed, saying, "Then let's do it." Soon after, we canceled our apartment lease and moved to my in-laws' house. My mother-in-law took on the responsibility of cooking and cleaning for us, a working couple. Her cooking was delicious and I felt happy every day. With my mother-in-law living with us, she started smiling more as if her loneliness had faded away. "Please, teach me how to cook." "Sure, be prepared because I'll give you strict guidance." That strict discipline is old-fashioned, you know. My mother-in-law and I had built such a relationship that we could joke around like that. We truly had a great bond, and there was no sign of the ill treatment by mother-in-laws often heard in society. The time we spent together as a family having meals with my mother-in-law and husband was when I felt the happiest. Even after that, we continued to live happily, supporting each other as a family. However, amidst all that, another unfortunate event occurred. It was when my mother-in-law's health deteriorated and she required care. She had pre-existing health conditions and they had worsened recently. She became wheelchair-bound, and we had to assist her with tasks such as using the bathroom and taking a bath. After discussing with my husband, I decided to quit my job and focus on caring for my mother-in-law and managing the household. "I'm sorry, Amy. It's because of me." "What do you mean?" "You had to quit your job because of me, and now you have to handle caregiving and all the household chores alone. It must be difficult." "Mom, you don't have to worry about that. I'm doing everything willingly and with full understanding. I'll take full responsibility for your care, so please, don't worry." "Thank you, Amy." My mother-in-law felt guilty for causing inconvenience due to her wheelchair-bound condition. However, to me, she was just as important as a real parent, so caregiving was never a burden for me. From then on, I became a full-time homemaker, focusing on caring for my mother-in-law and managing the household. Since my husband is currently working as a department manager, we were able to sustain our lifestyle without any issues, even with me being a homemaker. However, recently I've noticed a slight change in my husband's behavior. I don't know how to describe it, but he has become a bit colder towards me.
Hey, we're having Italian food and minestrone soup again today?
I'm sorry, but I change the ingredients each time.
Huh? Do you think I'll be satisfied just because you changed the ingredients? You're a homemaker, so you should be more creative, right? Shouldn't a good wife prepare different menus every day?
Well, I was taken aback by my husband suddenly making such remarks, and even my mother-in-law, who was eating with us, was surprised and asked my husband, "What's wrong, Tyler? Amy prepares delicious meals for us, and there's no need to talk like that, right?" When my mother-in-law scolded him, my husband looked down and apologized to me.
I'm sorry, I went too far with my comment.
However, I couldn't easily accept his apology because his earlier statement had been quite shocking. Besides, he could have apologized only because his mother scolded him. I still love my husband, of course, but I felt a bit disappointed, and the problem started from there. My husband began to verbally abuse me when my mother-in-law wasn't around.
You're such a sneaky person, trying to win my mom over. You're a homemaker, but you're so arrogant. Don't think you're equal to me just because I support you financially.
I was confused and troubled by my husband's sudden change in attitude. Why did his behavior change so drastically? I couldn't figure out the cause, and it felt hopeless. Nevertheless, my husband's mistreatment towards me worsened. One day, unable to bear it any longer, I confronted him. Hey, don't you think your recent attitude towards me is too harsh? I'm working hard to take care of your mom and manage the household, and yet without any sense of gratitude for such things, you treat me this way. I think it's wrong to mock me like that. When I said that, my husband widened his eyes and got angry.
Why are you talking back to me like that? That's why I dislike you.
Huh? Dislike me? What do you mean?
You're always trying to show off how hard you work. I find it annoying, like you're seeking attention.
I'm not trying to seek attention or act like that. Calling me an attention seeker is ridiculous. Rather, I try my best not to worry my husband. I don't intend to convey the extent of how difficult things are for me. So why do I have to hear such things? Since the conflicts like this with my husband, our relationship has become quite uncomfortable. It seems like my husband dislikes having meals together, as he has started increasing his overtime and coming home late at night. Amy, are you okay? You seem to be struggling every day. I'm sorry, Mom. Did something happen with Tyler? It was just a minor argument between us as a married couple, but I'll resolve it on my own. I didn't want to worry my mother-in-law. Besides, I was called an attention seeker by my husband, so I couldn't bring myself to rely on anyone. However, even after that, my husband's terrible attitude towards me didn't change, and I still didn't know what to do. The stress kept accumulating as the days passed. The only time I found solace was when I was with my mother-in-law during the day. Facing my husband made me feel uncomfortable, and he would continue to insult me in various ways. I had considered divorce from my husband, but I couldn't leave my mother-in-law behind. I was deeply troubled and didn't know what to do. It was at such a time that my mother-in-law suddenly said something like this. Amy, could you please leave this house? Huh? I was suddenly told this by my mother-in-law. Come on, Mom, please don't say that. I said that with a smile, but my mother-in-law's eyes were not smiling. Wait. Are you serious about asking me to leave? Yes, I am. I want you to leave this place. Why would you say that? Was my mother-in-law treating me so coldly too? Why did I have to endure such mistreatment? At a loss for my words, my mother-in-law took out a photo from a drawer and showed it to me. I want you to see this. I think it will make you understand what I'm saying. Huh? Upon seeing the photo, I made a decision immediately. I'll leave right away. Do so. I don't want to tie you down. Don't worry about me. Saying that, my mother-in-law started packing my things. I obediently packed my belongings into a suitcase as much as I could and returned to my hometown in the countryside. After a long time, I explained to my parents the reason why I left my in-laws' house. The photo my mother-in-law showed me was of my husband entering a hotel with an unknown woman. In other words, my husband was having an affair. I couldn't forgive him for such an act. Therefore, I decided to return home and proceed with a divorce from my husband. That night, my husband came home from work and immediately called me.
Hey, what's the meaning of this? Why aren't you at home at this hour?
He shouted at me like that. Why? It's because I left that house, obviously.
Huh? You left? You've got to be kidding me. What the hell are you doing outside the house without permission?
He seems to think that I just temporarily left the house. I calmly responded to my husband like this. It's not running away from home. I'm getting a divorce from you.
Huh? Divorce?
My husband was surprised and yelled like that.
What the hell? I won't accept that.
Too bad. But whether you accept it or not doesn't matter. After all, you're having an affair.
What? An affair? I'm not doing something like that.
Suddenly, my husband's voice became quieter. Clearly, he was flustered. Too bad, there's evidence, including photos, so you can't deny it. It seemed like my husband understood that I wasn't bluffing.
Wait. Please, wait. It's true that I had an affair, but it was a one-time mistake. I only met that person once, and I haven't been in contact with the person I had an affair with anymore. I really care about you, Amy. I'll apologize as many times as needed for the affair, so please, don't divorce me.
My husband suddenly changed his attitude and pleaded with me. And furthermore, he brought up my mother-in-law, suggesting that we continue our married life together. Too bad, but it was your own mother who informed me about your affair.
Huh?
My mother-in-law was the first to notice the change in my husband's attitude. It seems she had secretly hired a private investigator to investigate the matter without my knowledge. After confirming the investigation results, it turned out that my husband was indeed having an affair. My mother-in-law was deeply shocked by this revelation. She had been contemplating whether to tell me or not. However, she realized that keeping silent would only cause me more pain, so she decided to inform me. I am truly grateful to my mother-in-law for informing me about the affair. I will never forgive you, and you will pay for betraying me. Goodbye, I'm hanging up now.
Wait.
Without giving him a chance to respond, I hung up the phone and blocked my husband's number. From that point on, I demanded a divorce from my husband through a lawyer and sought compensation from both him and his affair partner. With the evidence against him, my husband couldn't deny his actions, and he was required to pay the compensation. It turned out that his affair partner was originally just a casual fling. It seems that my ex-husband wanted to be with her after our divorce. However, it turns out that his affair partner also considered their relationship as just a fling. It seems that the idea of living together after marriage was rejected by her. Really nice of her. He deserves what he got. Regarding my mother-in-law, she immediately decided to move into a nursing facility in response to my ex-husband's affair. With my late father-in-law's inheritance and monthly pension, she was able to afford a decent facility. As a result, she expelled my ex-husband from the house and even sold their family home to cover the costs of the facility. My ex-husband has been completely cut off by my mother-in-law. He is solely responsible for paying the full amount of the alimony. If he fails to make payments on time, his wages may be garnished. He cannot afford to neglect the monthly payments. From now on, no matter how much my ex-husband receives cold stares from others and lives in poverty, he must continue working to pay the alimony. It's all his own doing, and it serves him right. On the other hand, after taking a short break at my parents' house, I returned to the city, found a new job, and secured a reasonably priced rental apartment. This allows me to work comfortably every day while saving money. I still keep in touch with my mother-in-law even after separating from my ex-husband. I visit her at the nursing facility regularly, and it feels like a good connection. Moving forward, I will cherish my parents and beloved mother-in-law while enriching my own life. It's truly despicable to betray one's own parents and engage in an affair. I felt a sense of satisfaction seeing my ex-husband's downfall in the end. She's fortunate to have had her mother-in-law as an ally. I hope she continues to have a good relationship with her mother-in-law and meet new people. It's a relief that you were able to divorce your terrible ex-husband. I pray that she finds a wonderful partner in the future. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to our channel. See you in the next video. What? Wait a minute. Lila, where are you going? To Hawaii? To Hawaii? Where would she find that kind of money? At that moment, it finally hit me. To my surprise, the money I had set aside for my daughter's college admission fee was gone. What the heck are you doing, Jason?
I'm going to take care of my mother, so don't get in the way of that.
Well then, I'll bring back home some souvenirs. With that, the two of them left the house, grinning. I murmured softly as I watched their backs. Don't think that your wife in the house will always be there. My name is Wendy. I am a 46-year-old housewife. I live with my husband Jason, my daughter Beth, and my mother-in-law Lila. Originally, the three of us, Jason, Beth, and I, lived together, but after my father-in-law passed away about 5 years ago, my husband forced Lila to come live at our house. I honestly did not want to live with Lila. I knew that Lila clearly did not like me. The first time I began to think that was when I first met her and greeted her before the wedding. Oh my, you are kind of a boring person, aren't you? I think you and Jason are not a good match. I remember not being able to close my mouth since I was really surprised when she suddenly said such a thing to me. I was glad that my father-in-law scolded Lila then and apologized to me about it quickly, but I thought that she was a very insane person to say such a thing to me on when we just met.
I'm sorry my mother said such a terrible thing to you. Please, don't take it to heart.
My husband told me that later, but I wish he was the one who had warned Lila at that time. I remember being a little worried that Jason could not be strong enough to directly confront his own mother. But I still loved him, so I married him, and I knew I wouldn't be living with Lila or anything like that, at least back then. However, after I started living with my husband, I learned an unpleasant fact that I had not expected at all. That is that my husband was an overbearing husband.
Since we got married, I want you to quit your job.
What? You told me I could work even after we got married.
I may have said so at first, but I've changed my mind. Quit your work immediately and focus entirely being a housewife.
No way. You can't just say that out of the blue. Besides, I have to tell the company at least a month in advance to quit, you know.
Then you better definitely quit by the end of this month.
My husband said that and gave me no choice but to quit my work. In the end, I quit the company after a month and became a full-time housewife. From then on, I began to distrust my husband bit by bit. I wondered if he would ever protect me if something ever happened. It was during this time that I found out that I was pregnant. When I told my husband that I was pregnant, he was very happy.
You did a great job, Wendy.
I was very happy to hear him compliment me like that. After that, he became very kind to me and began to treat me really well.
Are you okay? Wendy, don't take it too hard. If it gets difficult, we can order some food, okay? Both you and the baby needs to be healthy.
I was really happy that he said that to me when I was suffering from my morning sickness. And only when I was pregnant, Lila was also kind and treating me well. Wendy, is there anything I can help you with? I'll go shopping or something instead of you. Oh, thank you, Lila. That would be a great help. Lila had always been a bully to me. Every time I saw her since the beginning of our marriage. But only during the pregnancy, she was kind to me as if she had changed her mind. But when the delivery date was approaching, an unpleasant incident happened again. So, did you find out the gender of the baby? My mother-in-law, my husband, and I were having a relaxing cup of tea when she asked me that question. Yes, the doctor told me that we're having a baby girl. As I said this while rubbing my belly, I felt the air freeze. Sensing something was wrong, I looked at my husband and Lila. They both slowly closed and opened their eyes and sighed. I knew it. You really are a useless woman. Excuse me?
Give us back the time we spent being so nice to you.
Wait, what do you mean?
Normally, it's a wife's duty to have a boy first and reassure her husband's family about leaving an heir, you know?
Huh? What are you going to do if my husband and I lose our family line here? No way. The moment my husband and mother-in-law found out that we're having a baby girl, they completely changed their attitude 180 degrees. From then on, no matter how sick I was, they never cared about me and the baby at all.
Why isn't dinner ready?
I'm sorry, I'm not feeling very well.
You do know that you can't get sick just because you're pregnant, right? Don't you dare slack off.
Yelling at me like that, my husband went back to my parents-in-law's house for dinner. I was so worried because I was left alone all the time, even though I wasn't at my best, and I wasn't feeling well at all. I was also worried about what would happen after our daughter was born. I wondered if Jason would treat my daughter with disrespect. While I had these worries and fears in my mind, I finally gave birth to my daughter. When my daughter was born, my husband and Lila both said she was adorable and happily held her in their arms. So, I was relieved to see that. For the time being, it seemed that they would take good care of my daughter. In fact, my husband loves our daughter so much that he now leaves work early and comes home early just so he could spend more time with her. Thanks to my husband taking care of our daughter, I was able to take a bath at night and cook a few side dishes for the coming week. But his attitude towards me remained the same.
Are you actually taking good care of Beth during the day? Are you feeding her milk properly?
Yes, of course. I'm taking good care of her.
If anything happens to Beth, I won't forgive you.
My husband glares at me as he says this. Is this the way a husband should look at his own wife? If this scene was from a comic, sparks would be flying to show how angry he looked. And to make matters worse, Lila also came to our house frequently. I've come to see you, little Beth. Wendy, please prepare tea and sweets right away. Lila would always come over unannounced, not caring if I was doing the housework or not. I had just finally put my daughter to bed and was quietly cleaning up when Lila took the liberty of picking her up and waking her up even though she was sound asleep. Then my daughter started to wail and cry. Hey, Wendy! Beth is crying! Thinking that she was the one who made her cry, I interrupted my cleaning to take care of my daughter. I glanced at Lila, who was just gracefully eating tea cakes at the dining table. I was fed up with Lila and my husband being so selfish and treating me so horribly. Then time passed. My daughter turned 3 and started kindergarten, so I decided to go to work part-time. I thought it would be better to save money for my daughter's tuition in the future. However, when I told my husband that I was going to work part-time, he opposed to that idea.
You complain that I don't make enough money? What a terrible wife you are.
That's not what I meant. I just want to work so that Beth can get a good education without worrying about money. When I said I was going to work part-time for our daughter, my husband was giving it a thought.
Well, if it's for Beth's sake, I guess it can't be helped. But don't ever cut corners on the housework, understood?
I understand, I promise. And so I was able to work part-time. Why are you working even though you're the housewife? Normally, a housewife is supposed to support the family, right? Lila complained that way, but I didn't care what she said and worked. I was glad I started working part-time, both mentally and financially, because I saw Lila less often, I was less stressed, and I was also able to reconnect with the society again. Conversing with people at work made me feel better, as I learned that there were other people who were also struggling with issues with their in-laws or with their own partners. And so I spent my life balancing part-time work and housework. Time passed by in a flash, and my daughter became a middle school student. However, my father-in-law passed away around this time, and my husband brought Lila back home without discussing to me about it, because he felt sorry for her being alone. From then on, my difficult days with Lila began. Hey, Wendy! I prefer to eat bread in the morning, and fried eggs. Make sure the yolk is well cooked, alright? I greeted the morning with Lila's yelling voice. Lila had always bullied me, even 10-some years after I got married to Jason. Until now, I could put up with it because we lived apart, but now that we are living together, there is no escape. It was really difficult for me mentally. Then, in the midst of all this, my daughter started to realize what was happening and began to take my side. Grandma, why are you so hard on Mom? What? No, I'm trying to educate your mom to be a proper wife as her mother-in-law. But It doesn't even seem or look like you're doing that. You look like you're enjoying tormenting Mom. Don't make my mom suffer. What? No way, I'm not doing that. Lila flinched when my daughter spoke harshly to her like that. After that, Lila stopped picking on me in front of my daughter. When it was just the two of us, she would still pick on me. But I would talk to my daughter about it when it became too much, and Beth would get mad at Lila later on. Lila would argue back right away whenever I say something to her, but I guess she is still weak against her granddaughter. Lila was speechless and didn't know what to say whenever Beth said things to her. I felt much better knowing that my daughter was on my side. But then, a few years later, since she got used to it, Lila began to talk back to my daughter as expected, after Beth had been angry with her many times. She then started trying to get Jason on her side by telling him about it. So my husband scolded my daughter and became angry with me, saying,
"What kind of discipline did you even give Beth?"
My daughter argued against my husband, who was taking my mother-in-law's side, and so it was like Lila and Jason versus Beth and me was formed in our family. While the atmosphere in the house continued to be bad, I could not go through with the divorce so easily, considering that my daughter was about to take an entrance exam and go to college. But then something happened that made me lose my patience. It was the day of my daughter's high school graduation ceremony. I thought that at least today we would celebrate her graduation together as a family without any arguments. However, as I was getting ready to leave in the morning, I heard the sound of shoes being put on, and I rushed to the front door. Then I saw Lila about to leave the house with a large suitcase. Huh? Wait a minute, Lila, where are you going? To Hawaii, of course. To Hawaii? What do you mean? My son and I are going on a trip to Hawaii. Excuse me? What are you talking about? Beth's graduation ceremony is coming up. You do know that, right? Ha! What's the fun in attending that cocky little girl's graduation ceremony? I'll choose to go to a fun trip with my son who loves me. No way. As I froze in surprise at what Lila was saying, my husband came up behind me carrying a suitcase. Wait, are you seriously going on a trip? I've never heard of any parent not going to their own son or daughter's graduation ceremony.
Oh, shut up. Since you're gonna go anyways, I don't have to go, do I? I'm going to enjoy my trip to Hawaii with my mom starting today.
I can't believe Jason's leaving his own daughter to go on a trip. And I have something else on my mind. Where would they even find that kind of money to Hawaii? My husband is actually not good at saving money and tends to spend money away. So much so that I do my best to make ends meet. Therefore, I did not know where the money came from. At that moment, something came across my mind. I quickly checked the bank book. You're joking, right? To my surprise, the money I had set aside for my daughter's college admission had disappeared. What is the meaning of this, Jason? Could it be that you are using this money to go on a trip with your mother?
Yeah, because this is my money, right? I'm going to take care of my own mother. So, don't get in the way of that.
What the hell are you talking about? This is the money I worked part-time to save for my daughter. The amount you withdrew is equivalent to Beth's college admission fee.
It doesn't matter though, right? I mean, there's still lots of money in the bank book.
My husband then began to put on his shoes. I really can't believe it. What on earth is this man even thinking? Well then, we'll bring back some souvenirs. With that, the two of them left the house with a grin on their faces. I looked at their backs and murmured softly, "Don't think that your wife in the house will always be there." I sighed and hugged my daughter, who was looking at me all concerned. Mom, does that mean that I can't go to college? No, don't worry. I'll make sure you'll attend the college you worked so hard to get into. Saying this to my daughter, we attended her graduation ceremony. Then when we got home, I thought of a plan and decided to implement it. And the plan was to sell the house. Actually, the house we are living in now was bought by my father.
Since you two got married and will have a baby soon, Jason wouldn't be making that much money yet, so I'll buy a house for your family, honey.
Saying that, my father gave us the house as a gift. I am sure my husband forgot about those old days and thought it was the house he bought for us. So I immediately contacted my father and asked him to sell the house since the house was still under his name. Fortunately, a buyer was quickly found and I began preparing to move out with my daughter. As for my husband and Lila's belongings, I explained the situation and had them sent to my brother-in-law's house. My brother-in-law apologized to me, saying,
I'm really sorry for the trouble my brother and my mother have caused you.
I am sure my brother-in-law must have had a hard time when he lived with those two as well. After we finished removing all of our belongings, my daughter and I decided to live temporarily at my parents' house for now. Then I received a call from my husband and Lila, who had returned from Hawaii.
Oh, hey, what's going on? Why can't we get into the house?
Oh, that's because we sold the house. Since it's not ours anymore, we changed the locks right away.
Huh? What do you mean? Why would you sell my house for?
I knew it. You did forget. That house is in my father's name, you know that, right?
What?
You and Lila crossed the line you shouldn't have crossed. So I won't tolerate you both anymore. There is no place for you and your mother in that house, and I'm divorcing you.
Divorce? Now wait a minute. What do you think you're doing?
I'm doing whatever I think is right for my daughter and I. And I'm still being tormented by you people. Well, I guess from now on you guys might be in big trouble since you don't have your housekeeper anymore.
Oh no. I mean, where's our stuff then?
I explained the situation to your brother and sent your stuffs at his place.
What the? What are you doing, Wendy?
Huh?
That guy and I don't get along, you know that.
Yeah, I know that very well. But there's nowhere else where I could send your things, so it can't be helped. Anyway, I won't forgive you guys anymore. Let's talk about divorce through my lawyer. With that, I hung up the phone. I could hear Lila screaming, but I hung up before she could take over the phone and block the calls from them. I then demanded a divorce from my husband through my lawyer. My husband was reluctant until the end, but finally agreed. By the way, it seems that my brother-in-law had been mistreated by Lila and my husband, so he sold off their belongings one after another in order to get back to them. And he used the money to travel overseas. Even though Lila and my husband wanted to collect the rest of their belongings, they could not do so because my brother-in-law was gone traveling overseas. And since they had no savings at all, they were having trouble getting furniture and appliances right away, even if they rented a new room. Lila had been pushing me to do all the housework when we used to live together. And moreover, since she's getting older and can no longer move as much as she would like, my ex-husband is now forced to do the housework while working. And on top of that, he has to take Lila to the hospital. I think it's really nice that Jason is now paying the price for all the things he has been pushing me to do. Meanwhile, I have been offered a job as an office clerk at a company owned by a friend of my father's. I now have a steady income and I am able to pay for my daughter's college tuition. I will continue to live vibrantly as a single mother while taking care of my daughter and my parents. The combination of an overbearing husband and a mother-in-law who believes the wife is the worst. I think Wendy has endured well in such a family. I am glad that her daughter grew up to be a good girl. I hope Wendy and her daughter Beth continue to get along well with each other and cooperate with each other in various ways and live happily ever after. Thank you for watching to the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you like. See you in the next video.